Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli back here at the Missile Jigs booth talking about the hottest little jig I've fished in a long time. This is the Missile Jigs micro jig. And I want to talk to you about the 3 ways that I fish this ultra finesse jig. Remember, keep in mind, the Missile micro jig is a ultra finesse jig. It's a spinning rod application. It's perfect for tough fishing, clear water, and smallmouth and spotted bass will gobble this thing up. But here's the 3 ways that I fish it. The first one is by dragging it. For those of you watching that fish a Ned rig or a shaky head, you know the technique. I'm gonna make a long cast with this and I'm gonna drag it along the bottom. And that drag is just real straight, an occasional pause, and I'm letting the subtle, compact nature of that bait do all the work on its own. So I'm letting it sink, I'm dragging it off the bottom, maybe I pause it once in a while, but a lot of times when the fish are picky, they don't want big movement. They don't want a big bait. They want something subtle that's being dragged across the bottom. Method number 1. The second way I'm gonna fish a micro jig is like you would a traditional bigger jig. But again, now I'm doing it on a spinning rod. I'll make a long cast past targets. So boulders, isolated brush, a log, a dark spot, a weed edge. I'm gonna let it sink to the bottom. I'm gonna watch my line as it falls. A lot of bites will come on the initial fall. Keep your eye out for that. Once it hits the bottom, just like a regular jig, I'm gonna shake my rod tip. I'm gonna pause it, let that skirt flare. I'm gonna shake it again, pause it, let that skirt flare. So fish the micro jig just like you would a traditional jig by shaking and pausing, shaking and pausing. Once you're away from the cover, reel it in, make another cast. Second way I'm going to fish the Missile micro jig. And finally, last but not least, another killer technique is swimming the Missile micro jig. A lot of times when that bait gets off the bottom, if it's shad, alewife, minnows, bluegill, whatever your bait fish is, I'll cast this out, I'll let it sink to the level of the fish. So I'll count it down. Once it gets to the level of the fish, I just start steady reeling it. I start swimming that bait. And when those fish are keyed in on bait fish, it's almost like a spy bait coming through the water. It's subtle, it's small, it's natural, and the fish can't stand it. Let me tell you, no matter which style you fish it, drag it, shake it, or swim it, try this ultra finesse Missile micro jig, and you're gonna catch them when nobody else is. Mike Iaconelli at iCast 2018.